Are you ready for this fantastic episode? Sing for me, my angel.
Hold on,
music.
sorry.
What? Why can't I say that?
Your levels
Am I
are
too
completely
low?
off. Yeah.
I can talk louder. Are you ready for this fantastic episode? Sing to me.
That
Ooh,
would be
yes.
fan with a PH.
Oh, PH
right?
fan.
Can we take that again, please?
Yeah,
that was
PH. Are you ready to sing? Wait. Are you ready? Are you ready for this fantastic episode?
And that would be fan with a PH, correct?
Correct.
Haha.
Sing to me, my angel of music. My angels! Welcome back to the Critics and the Crowd, the podcast where we cover all of that divisive media out there that baffles audiences, professionals, and everybody everywhere all at once.
great movie, by the way. By now, you know this interrupting voice as that of one Steele, podcaster to the masses.
Hello, hello. I am Liz Ramirez, the cool co-host of the Critics and the Crowd. I am an actress, producer, and PH fan. This was the movie that got it all started for me. I am the musical theater girl I am because of this film. Okay. But enough about me and my six-headed colleague. We have a guest with us today to help us cover our latest polarizing picture. Sarah Smithton is an award-winning stage actor, voice actor, and singer. She is best known as Camellia in Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous, Frodo in the English dub of Yellow Muzi Friends, available on Prime Video, and various pastries in Bread Barbershop on Netflix. But if you're a fan of Steele's work, you'll recognize her velvety voice as that of Berkeley Monroe in The Green Llama and Madeline Bernassi on Queens of the Sapphire Sea. Two audio dramas that you can find wherever you listen to your podcasts. How are you, Miss Smithton?
Hello, velvety voice. Oh my goodness. Thank you. I'm doing very well. I've just received a wonderful compliment. I'm having some Harrods English breakfast tea that was recently gifted to me by my friend Phil. And we're here to talk about this film, which I have opinions about. So I am excited. All in all, it's a great way to start the day. How are you two?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Liz?
I'm great. I'm ready.
This is the kind of film that I love to dig my teeth into for the Critics and the Crowd. And I want to thank you, Sarah, for coming onto our podcast, and thanks for choosing our film today, in that you chose it from a list of films that had been pre-vetted.
Yes.
The Phantom of the Opera. You wrote to me that it's been haunting you for quite a while. Apropos, if you ask me, what's your deal with this most classic of monster musicals?
So, like Liz, I am a musical theater kid. I have tried many times to escape the cult, but it has its hooks in me pretty deep. So when I saw your list of films, I just had to pick the one musical selection. I used the word haunting in my email to you, Steele, not just because it was oh so fitting, but because Phantom of the Opera, the musical, truly always has been lurking around my life. There was a long-running San Francisco production that was conducted by one of my future vocal coaches. After the film came out, my voice coach at the time, not the conductor, a different one, she kept giving me songs to work on, which, I mean, they're fun to sing. I mean, the theme alone, it's very fun. Look, once upon a time I was a soprano. I was never that type of soprano. I am not a Christine Daae. That is not my lane. But yet it was given to me. And it has continued to pop up in my life from knowing cast members from various productions and Broadway, the tours, Vegas, and then also just from living here in New York for years, just walking down 44th Street and seeing the marquee at the Majestic. And then it closed, and now it's back in the form of a new immersive production here in the city, which I have not seen yet. It's called Masquerade. But I have heard bits of it while walking down 57th Street in the evening. because there's parts of it that are performed up on the rooftop, and you can hear it if you're walking down the street at the time it's running. Yeah, it never dies. Love Never Dies, the sequel to Phantom. So basically, although I have never specifically sought out this show, it has been there. I feel like it is impossible to ignore if you're involved in theater. It will find you, whether you like it or not.
And we'll get into why that is in just a second. The stats.
The Phantom of the Opera is a film adaptation of one of the most successful stage musicals of all time, which itself was an adaptation of the novel La Fantôme d'Opéra by Gaston Leroux. Leroux. Thank you. I'm a little French, y'all. Anyway, first opening on the West End in 1986 and Broadway in 1988. The show has since grossed over $6 billion, that's billion with a B, in worldwide revenue, with $1 billion alone coming from over 10,000 performances in New York, making it the longest-running production ever on the Great White Way, and the longest-running production in Canada, thanks to its smash run in Toronto, and numerous tours, and, well, you get the idea. A synopsis.
A brooding and disfigured genius, masked to hide his hideous face, attempts to woo the young vocalist Christine, strong-arming the owners of a 19th-century Parisian opera house into giving the budding starlet key roles. But after Christine instead falls for the troupe's benefactor, the handsome and aristocratic Raoul, Christine's phantasmic paramour schemes to keep the singer by his side, no matter the cost.
Despite the show's success, it took a surprisingly long time for the musical to be adapted to film. Gone are the days of Rodgers and Hammerstein productions being immediately ported to the silver screen. The Phantom of the Opera languished in development hell for the better part of 2 decades before finally finding release in December of 2004. Budgeted at between $70 and $80 million, that's million with an M, it made approximately $154 million worldwide. With theaters and distributors taking their cuts, that means the film was by no means a disaster, but it also was probably only barely profitable after DVD and rental money factored in. Remember those halcyon days of home media.
So what gives? Why did a musical that has translated into literally a dozen languages and thrilled audiences for almost 4 decades become a box office bust? Well, listen to what the critical consensus is, courtesy of Rotten Tomatoes.
The music of the night has hit something of a sour note. Critics are calling the screen adaptation of Andrew Lloyd Webber's popular musical histrionic boring and lacking in both romance and danger. Still, some have praised the film for its sheer spectacle.
That seems pretty on par with its critical rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which sits at 32%. Audiences disagree, however. According to The Crowd, this film has found purchase with 84% of audiences, a whopping 52-point difference, or just about 2 stars in between. That's one of the biggest discrepancies that this podcast has covered. Why the disconnect? Let's be real. The fans of this musical are like the fans of Elvis, Bruce Springsteen, or insert here whatever megastar that you just don't like.
I do love Elvis. And what's wrong with Bruce Springsteen?
There's nothing wrong with Bruce Springsteen. It's just that people worship at his altar as if he's almost literally the manifestation of the Christ.
But he's like the dude, right? No, not the dude. He's like the guy. He's the man. He's the man. He's the man. Is he the man, Sarah?
He's the man.
He's the man. So there's nothing wrong with Bruce. I like him. And I know People love this musical. They've loved it since it first appeared in the 80s. Loved it more when it won awards aplenty. Loved it when it went on tour. Loved it in revivals. Loved it in rich kid high schools that can afford the set design and singing roles. Loved it via vinyl. Loved it on cassette. Loved it on CD. Loved it on Spotify. And will take us all to task if we don't give it glowing reviews right now. Everybody ready for our inboxes to be filled with vitriol or adulation? Oh boy.
The film comes to us via Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber himself, who co-wrote it and was the original composer. The man needs no introduction. He's a billionaire, that's with a B, and one of the most successful musical theater composers of all time, having crafted productions like Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Jesus Christ Superstar, Cats, Evita, most recently Bad Cinderella. Sidebar, there was this amazing mailer that went out when Bad Cinderella was on Broadway that said, "From the legendary composer behind Jesus Christ Superstar, Evita, Cats, and Phantom of the Opera comes something bad." I have it on a bulletin board in my apartment. It always makes me laugh. Anyway, Back to the Phantom film. Sir Lloyd Webber was instrumental in the adaptation from the very beginning, so if you love it, praise him. And if you hate it, blame him. You'll find comrades in both camps, regardless of where you fall.
The unindicted co-conspirator of this production is director Joel Schumacher. Joel is a polarizing figure, having made box office hits and box office poison, critical darlings and critical damnations. On the good side, St. Elmo's Fire, Lost Boys, 8mm, Phone Booth, A Time to Kill, and Falling Down. On the negative, Number 23, Trespass, 12, and the two post-Burton Batman films, Batman Forever and, especially, Batman and Robin. Webber recruited Schumacher himself in the early days of pre-production based on his love of Lost Boys, of all films. It took a long time to get this movie made, but this pair were joined at the hip from the very beginning.
I have to kind of say, I don't know if I should even say this, but I kind of liked the Batman and Robin films. I was really young when I saw them, like maybe 6, 7, 8, 9. I just loved. I mean, Uma Thurman is Poison Ivy. She looks so beautiful. And then, gosh, as a Freeze guy, as Mr. Freeze,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold. I just think it was a crazy stylized movie, and I love how far it goes into that. And then, like, the nipples on the batsuit, that was crazy.
No wonder you like Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, I love Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, and I'll say it again.
If you all could see Steele's face right now.
You'd never need vinegar again.
There is so much judgment. It's amazing.
He's so disappointed. It's okay, though. It's okay. The cast is headlined by Emmy Rossum as Christine, Patrick Wilson as Raoul, Miranda Richardson as Madame Giry, Minnie Driver as Carlotta, Simon Callow as Gilles André, and Syrian Hans as...
Kieran.
Kieran? Who?
You don't know Kieran Hans?
No, I'm sorry.
Kieran Hans is one of the most respected English actors of all time.
Kieran Hans? What do they look like?
Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. We have to pause here.
I know what they look like because I... Oh my god!
Yes.
Yes, no, I know him. That's is that he Andre or is he Fermont? Because they call him the Monsieur Fermont and Monsieur Andre. They never call him by their first name. Kieran Hans as Richard Fermont. And, shockingly, Gerard Butler as the Phantom himself. Whoa. Gerard Butler. What else has he been in?
Are you being serious right now?
No, I know. Okay, no, I know. I know him specifically as the Phantom and as P.S. I Love You, but that was like the more new to me. But then what I really know Gerard Butler as, what I like love him as, the father of the How to Train Your Dragon.
Yes, that's the big one.
Yeah.
300?
Yeah.
300! You know, that one was never really in my wheelhouse, too much blood, but I did see the 300 spoof. Did you guys ever see that spoof movie?
You love those spoof movies.
No, but I saw 300 in IMAX.
Oh my god, that sounds like a really great time.
It was an experience. I liked it a lot better than this film.
We should watch 300.
Law-Abiding Citizen, Movie 43, Olympus Has Fallen, that whole Has Fallen series, Gods of Egypt, which might be the worst thing ever made. Yeah. There's Den of Thieves. I could go on and on. Let's continue.
Okay. Almost every other major player had vocal training, but Monsieur Butler had no professional singing experience and had only taken 4 voice lessons before auditioning for his role in front of Andrew Lloyd Webber himself. He must have made quite the impression because he got the job.
Joel Schumacher was known for marrying artistic vision with focused shoots, but even he couldn't keep this movie small. Small is not the Phantom of the Opera. It's a monster. It has huge casts, orchestras, scenes, numbers, moments, you name it, it's huge. Principal photography lasted for 4 months, shot entirely on 8 sound stages at Pinewood Studios. Drawing influence from Parisian opera, Jean Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast, the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, and the original novel by Gaston Leroux, not the horror films made before it, by the way, more on that in a bit. It had significant delays in pre-production and casting, but by most accounts was a relatively uneventful shoot. It wowed fans of the show, underdelivered for critics, and was nominated for 3 Oscars in Art Direction, Cinematography, and Best Original Song. Learn to Be Lonely, written by the Lord himself, along with Charles Hart, the lyricist for the stage production.
I waffle between Weber with a B and Weber with two Bs throughout this script. I apologize to him, I apologize to my colleagues, and I apologize to the audience.
Who was going to know?
Yeah.
Unless you said something.
I had to be. I had to call myself out on it. I'm an honest podcaster.
Thank you. Initial thoughts.
Mademoiselle Smithton, you're our guest. What were your initial thoughts coming back into this rewatch? You'd seen this at least once, so what do you remember from that viewing experience? What were you considering as you popped this into ye old Amazon rental window? And what was your experience with the show itself? Any earlier adaptations and the song Masquerade?
Well, Monsieur Philippec, I don't remember much about when I saw this in cinemas, other than I walked out of the film with a massive crush on Emmy Rossum. I was very taken with her at the time, so my opinion was probably fueled by preteen hormones. I'd seen the musical twice, once prior to the film and once afterwards, both in San Francisco. I always meant to rush it on Broadway because it would have been really cool to say I saw it during its record-breaking run, but I didn't. It's never been my favorite show, but I don't mind it. What did surprise me as I was rewatching it to prep for this episode was I apparently still know about 90% of the lyrics. I was singing along just fine. I mean, I don't think I've listened to any of the cast recordings or the movie soundtrack in years, and yet there I was, able to sing along with Meg and Christine and everybody else. It's haunting me against my will, I told you.
How about you, Liz? You said you're a PHAN fan.
Why, yes, Steele. Yes, I am. When I was about 6 years old, I recall my mother putting this crazy movie on the TV. There was singing and dancing and some deranged guy in a mask who was on a boat in a cave. While frightening, the film was intriguing, mysterious, romantic, and there was murder, all being sung to you by the dulcet tones, that's in air quotes, of Gerard Butler. As I grew, I came to find out that this film was none other than the Phantom of the Opera. And from then on, I was hooked. I learned the music. I found out there was a stage musical. I watched the 25th anniversary version, the best version. I saw the show in Las Vegas at the Venetian. I saw it in New York. I saw it in my hometown. I was a PH fanatic. I read into the lore and saw how people would continue Christine and the Phantom story, otherwise known as Eric. That's it, canon, anyway. I have merch. I have the DVDs of both the 25th anniversary version and Love Never Dies. Oh, gosh, you guys. That's a story for another time. Some great songs out of that, but just, it's like Eric and Christine. Eric, okay, the Phantom. The Phantom and Christine, I don't know, the fanfics came to life. It's wild to me that so many people have found themselves connected to this story, some even role-playing as these characters. Quick story time, and this might be crazy. I made a Phantom Ghost Instagram page for a literature book project when I was in high school. One of the assignments was we had to make an Instagram account of a literary character, and so I thought, duh, like gas all the road, like the Phantom of the Opera. I know the Phantom of the Opera. Well, that kind of gained a little bit of attention, a little bit of traction, and I had many Phantom accounts. Phantom and Christine accounts follow me. I only had like 5 posts, y'all. Like, it wasn't even that crazy. It was like, the Phantom is in his cave, and he is feeling very, like, sad. Okay.
But no, like, I absolutely believe it. Fans of this show are passionate. I absolutely believe that would have gone viral in musical theater internet.
Absolutely. It's like they have the same passion and fervor as like Taylor Swift fans or Nicki Minaj fans. It's wild. And so, well, some of the accounts DM'd me and even offered to role play as Christine since I was the Phantom.
Whoa.
It was creepy and scary. And this is just the darker side of the fandom. And I've only seen a little bit of it, and I literally never want to ever see it again. I will say, I know I shouldn't be promoting a different film though from the film we're promoting, but the 25th anniversary version, it took me away from this film when I first saw it. To me, that is the only version. Ramin Karimloo and Sarah Boggess, who I've actually met literally like in this one year. I went to go see Pirates of Penzance, met Ramin. He was so kind and sweet. I met Sarah Boggess very quickly in a Lenwich. She was speaking with her husband. I think it's her husband now, not fiance, but yeah. And I was like, I love you so much. And she was just like, oh, okay, thank you. And I felt so bad because she was, just eating her lunch, but I was like, I'm never going to see her again. I don't know if I ever will. I'm sorry. I had to just throw that in there. But they are the blueprint. They are the blueprints. So it's very hard not to compare. But I beg you, please go watch that version. It makes me cry and scream and throw up, and it's just incredible.
Compare. Put it on as a palate cleanser after you watch this film, if you have to.
Completely agree. Actually, you know what? Sarah, yes.
I guess we're not burying the lead there.
Oh, very quickly. Okay. All that being said, I love this musical and this film. We're getting into that. I wrote this before I rewatched it because I was doing my intro piece, but it's just very nostalgic for me, and I'm really excited to dive back in and see what I've been so disconnected from for so many years. And I don't want to spoil anything, but listen, things have changed for me. Things have changed.
For myself, I'm neither a lover or hater of the Phantom of the Opera. I saw it initially in Toronto at my father's behest. He was and is a lover of majestic theater and especially musicals, and again on tour and again in New York. And while I loved its lavish settings and choreography, the story has never wowed me, so I had never seen this film despite having an immense amount of respect for Joel Schumacher. He's my kind of director, taking big swings and getting big hits and big misses. He was an artist. On a personal level, he is also the most gracious filmmaker I have ever met. When I saw a screening of Phone Booth at my alma mater of NYU, Mr. Schumacher spent more time than was necessary to talk about the movie, his involvement, production, and much else. He wasn't cowed by the audience's criticism of Batman and Robin, a film I hate, and spoke at length to any student who wanted to talk to him about anything, particularly Phone Booth, a film I really, really like. I came into this wanting to be wowed, particularly after learning that this was a labor of love for both Schumacher and Weber, who had been engaged on it for 16 years. This was their vision, and I wanted to take it at face value.
They worked for 16 years on this?
Yes, they got together in 1988 or 1989, wrote the screenplay together. They had funding, $25 million, and then we'll get into this in the trivia. Lots of things happened. Schumacher blew up as a director in a good way, and they just kind of tried to get it into motion, and it took a long time before it really got any kind of heat and then was able to be produced.
16 years to come up with this?
Once again, not burying the lead.
Help.
Help!
I don't know what else to say, but help. I know movies take time, but why?
For real? You want to know for real? But we can go. Maybe we can use this for trivia. So for real, what happened was Andrew Lloyd Webber went through a divorce, a very, very messy, nasty public divorce.
Oh, yes, I know. Shout out to Miss Brightman.
Yeah, it involving hundreds of millions of pounds, rights issues, and that really sucked him down at that period. Joel Schumacher, meanwhile, was becoming bigger and bigger. He did Flatliners, and then he was handpicked to do Batman Forever. People kind of look at that now with some skepticism, and I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it made a lot of money, more so than Batman Returns, and Batman and Robin, as much as I hate that film, it didn't bomb. It did make money. So he was very much an in-demand director. He did 8mm, and so he was doing all these projects, Flawless as well, which I rather like, Tigerland, where he met and would later collaborate with Colin Farrell on Phone Booth, another film. Talk about prolific and dedicated. He directed Phone Booth. It took 10 days to shoot that film. What an artist. Yes, he has made some bad films, but rest in peace, he was great. And so finally Weber bought the rights back and independently financed this film. So that's what I mean. Like, this is his vision. He was involved in it. This was not an adaptation from afar. If you like it, it's him. If you hate it, it's him.
That makes it worse.
Are you ready to get to the synopsis?
Sure. We open quietly, hauntingly, as the musical themes of the film play over a postcard of Paris in 1919, which slowly comes to life. In black and white and very schlocky fake film grain, we witness the auctioning of a defunct opera house. Props from the production of Hannibal, a music box, everything must go. An elderly aristocrat, Vicomte de Chagny, watches as the opera house's chandelier is lifted to the ceiling, illuminating the environs and the audience as to the tragedy that happened so many years ago.
The organ blares that most famous of themes from the Phantom of the Opera. It's powerful enough to blow away cobwebs, rust, and time, transporting us back to the fateful events of legend. 1870. The Opera House is not decrepit at all, but in full swing, as the company prepares for a performance of Hannibal, a musical about a cannibal serial killer? I don't get it, but Minnie Driver with the beer midriff is belting out a solo? That I can get behind.
Belting?
Oh, Steele. Yeah, belting.
We'll get
That's
into that in a
crazy.
second.
Steele just doesn't know. He's like, belting? Yeah, no. Okay, girl. Minnie is playing Carlotta Giudicelli, the prima donna of this troupe. She's a terror to everyone around her, but it's not entirely her ego. She claims that the theater is haunted by a ghost who is said to live in the catacombs below and refuses to go on stage. She's not being unreasonable. In fact, a mysterious cloaked stranger nearly kills her with a dropped curtain as Carlotta was performing for the new ownership. This is the opera ghost, who's kind of a diva himself, demanding a large salary and a private viewing box for all performances.
Box 5.
To be exact.
3 things stood out to me in this opening, 2 bad and 1 good. The fake film grain married with the modern film stock looked really awful on my television, which dampened my excitement right off of the bat. The moment when the chandelier is lifted and the theme is played left me underwhelmed as well. It didn't have as much heft as I would have liked. And then we get into the opera house itself, and I loved the look. The actors were fantastic. The chaos was appropriate. The costumes were great. Everything visual was superb and filled with detail.
I agree and disagree with what you just said. I am right there with you in terms of both the black and white footage and the film grain, and also the chandelier moment. It just does not hit in the same way it does in the show. I don't know how you could film it in the same way to get that level of excitement, but it just does not have the same impact. And I disagree with you about the opera house footage. It felt too mundane for me. I mean, listen to that overture. That is one dramatic overture. Give me more drama, more chaos. It just, combined with the mundane goings-on of the opera house, it just felt lacking to me.
I get that. This is going to be a running theme for me in this picture. It feels like a movie. That's not a criticism per se, but the operatic quality of the stage adaptation is lessened here for cinematic choices. It's the same struggle every film adaptation has to face. How faithful do you remain to the source material and thus lose out on what makes a movie, and how far do you stray from it, thus losing what made the initial work such a success?
I don't know, guys. I thought when the dust starts peeling off of the statues and the camera's like showing what in our deepest, wildest dreams would happen, I do agree that there needs to be more. There just needs to be more. I think that involves editing. I really just think it's an editing at that point to make it more energetic. But I don't know. I think I was really excited when the music hit, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so happy right now. I mean, eventually it got less and less happy as I started to realize things that were happening. When the organ is playing and things are flashing back, I don't know. It hit me really, really hard.
I wanted it to, but instead I just started laughing.
Dang.
I have high standards, what can I say?
You know what, honestly, and please have those high standards. I have, as you can, okay, The Rise of the Silver Surfer. I love that movie. So
no judgment.
I don't know whose standards we want to agree with, but no. How about no judgment? I love that. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. No judgment. I have to agree about the world building though with Steele, and I think there's a lot of attention to detail and unmasking of details we would never even know. I think it perfectly captures what all of the fans had in mind, and I think at this point it's very stunning and beautiful. We can see how lavish this film is, and I feel like this is what the new Masquerade sort of thing is trying to do, where we're getting sort of this like push forward, we're face to face with the details of the show and being super immersive. That's what I feel like this film and this new Masquerade thing have quite in common. A quick thing, I actually have met 3 of the people in this cast, one of the Christines, we did karaoke together when I first moved here.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
How fun.
Isn't that crazy? That was so unexpected. When I saw on her Instagram, I was like, wow. I'm like 6 degrees separated from Andrew Lloyd Webber. Anyway, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Good thing, bad thing. Let's not get into that. I just want to talk about Minnie Driver for a second. What are your thoughts? Because I truly loved her in this role. I think she is so funny. I think she absolutely runs with it. She's so camp. I do have feelings about her casting, though, because she is being dubbed by a spectacular opera singer, Margaret Priest. And of course, they've done that in many Golden Age films. Think Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady or Natalie Wood in West Side Story, both voiced by the incomparable Marni Nixon. But we're in 2004. And there are certainly performers who can do a spectacular job, and you can skyrocket their careers from this one role. I understand having names connected, but I don't know. It irks me a bit. I still love her, and she's incredible. And it's not even for the fact that Minnie can't sing. She sings Learn to Be Lonely in the credits, and it was literally nominated for an Oscar. Guys.
I'm going to have one quick thing, then throw it to Sarah. They let Gerard Butler sing his role, and they didn't let Minnie Driver.
That part.
Heard. Minnie has this gorgeous, like, alto-y kind of rasp to her voice, so I get that she just physically can't do that, which is perfectly fine, but, like...
It sounds beautiful when she's singing on a song that has nothing to do with the film and does not even fit tonally with the film. It's a pretty song, but I really don't know what it's doing there other than to get the best song nomination at the Oscars.
Absolutely. And also, real quick, really crazy, I did not have it on my bingo card, my 2025 bingo card, to go watch a video from the 2005 Oscars of Beyonce singing Learn to Be Lonely with Angela Weber. Seeing them performing together, he's playing the piano, and Beyonce's in black, she's about to sing, and I'm like, what is going on? Why is she singing the song? What?
The early 2000s, they were wild.
They're wild. My two worlds colliding. It was pretty wild. This show's my Roman Empire, y'all. I had to say that. The show is my Roman Empire. I literally thought about it at least 5 times a day when I was a teenager up until like my young adulthood.
I'm an ancient guy. What is the Roman Empire?
What is Roman Empire? Okay. Like, it sort of spawned from women asking men, like, do you think about the Roman Empire? And men were like, yeah, I do, like at least once or twice a day. And we were like, there is no effing way that you actually think about that all the time.
I was actually, full disclosure, I was thinking about the fall of the Roman Republic this morning.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. See? Are you effing kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now? You guys. So it's so true. So then, we sort of take that verbiage, like, something you think about constantly, like almost like a sort of big idea. And for me, it was the Phantom. I literally 4 or 5 times a day, I would think about it. I'd sing it all the time. My family, I'm so sorry to my family. I formally apologize via my podcast. If you're listening, homies, I love y'all. I apologize for singing it so much in the shower and using up all the hot water. Okay.
That's amazing. Back to your point about the dubbing in this film. And maybe I'm only noticing this because I'm a voice actor and I have done live action dubbing, and so it's something that I pay attention to. The dubbing in this film, I mean, it sucks.
Wah, wah.
It sucks. I truly do not believe most of these people were actually singing along with their recorded tracks on set because they're not taking in enough breath to hit those notes. They are not conveying the drama in their voices on the recording on the screen. It is not believable. Patrick Wilson does the best job at it. I have to give him his flowers. He is the most consistent with looking like he is singing. And actually, when Carlotta has some vocal stumbles later on in the film, which we'll get to in the synopsis, that is the most believable part for me of Minnie singing. But other than that, it is so blatantly apparent that she is dubbed. It is so apparent that everybody else is lip syncing. It drove me nuts.
Yeah, that is one of my biggest qualms with the film. It's one of my cons. I know I'm jumping, but there's even one point, one of actually my favorite small portions is the song Twisted Every Way, and it's a motif that shows up again and again and again. And she's singing it, and you can tell she messed up the word, but they still have her dub going over it, and she says can, and like, I don't even know what the verbiage is or whatever she says, whatever the lyric is. I don't remember what the lyric is, but you can see her mouth physically not saying the word that's spoken. And I'm like, oh my God, just do it again. Just do it again.
Yeah, I clocked that too.
Yeah. I'm not as much of a hater as you two are, but it took me out of the experience.
Rude.
Yeah.
I like being a hater sometimes.
I do too.
Thank you. The Ghost's demands infuriate the 2 new owners of the troupe, scrap metal magnates Richard Firmin and Gilles André. The 2 are desperate to impress their new benefactor, Raoul de Chagny. This was the aged Vicomte from the beginning of the film.
Can I say that he looks attractive at least?
Fine.
He looks attractive at least.
In that wig?
It's pretty hot.
The wig is crazy.
In that wig.
Pretty hot.
Steele, I have questions.
We'll talk about this.
Okay, we'll come back to that, but that's just gonna take me out for a hot second. Okay, fine. We can get back to the synopsis now. Young dancer Christine is also enamored with Raoul, although I don't know how with that hair, but anyway. The two were childhood sweethearts way back when. How? Don't ask me. He's clearly in his 30s and Christine is a teenager. But now he doesn't recognize her. Richard and Gilles are quite interested in the dancers, however, so when Madame Geary suggests that Christine fill in for Carlotta for the premiere of the show, the two junkyard owners...
Scrap metal magnates.
So sorry. The two scrap metal magnates are keen to have such a young beauty show off her vocals.
There are some great actors in this piece, and everybody is doing a good job here, though the dialogue is a little clunky at points. Something that stood out to me also were the wide variety of accents. We've got numerous kinds of English accents, some good and bad French ones, Minnie Driver's Italian, and even an American accent or two. I know that it's playing up the cosmopolitan nature of the opera, but I recall the controversy about the accents in Emilia Perez, and it kind of registers for me as a criticism here.
Usually, accent inconsistency is a big sticking point for me. It did not bother me as much while watching this film, I must admit.
Okay.
Honestly, I also wrote this down, Steele, because it did bother me. Make them all British. Make them all British. There is...
I would have very much preferred that.
Right? The cosmopolitan excuse, that's an excuse. That is absolutely an excuse. In the Royal Albert Hall, they are all British. Except Carlotta, understandably. She's an Italian opera singer. Italian is great. I mean, think about Les Mis, which is another huge, I think comparable to
absolutely.
to Phantom.
Yes.
And everybody's British, even though they're French in the French Revolution. So just make them British.
Some things just sound better in a British accent.
True. All the music is almost meant for British accents. When Patrick Wilson is singing in his American accent, some of the things I'm like, just the vowels, and I just don't like it. Just make it British. Just make it British.
Christine goes on to give a commanding performance that evening, singing Think of Me. No problemo, she gets a standing ovation from the audience. Raoul and the opera ghost, who listens from the sewers below like a well-dressed ninja turtle. The cast celebrates as Christine flashbacks and then confides in her friend Meg that she's taken to be coached by a tutor whom she has dubbed the Angel of Music. Ever since her father passed, Christine is taking shelter and guidance under this mysterious figure.
Raoul attempts to woo Christine and dismisses her story about the opera ghost. Bad move. The opera ghost appears, and we get our first look at this most famous of masked phantoms. He's seemingly hypnotizing Christine and leading her to his underground lair, where he displays a wedding dress for Christine. A little forward, sir. Buy her dinner first, please. Christine, overwhelmed, faints, and when she awakens, unmasks the phantom.
Infuriated and ashamed, the phantom lashes out before finally calming down enough for him to be remasked. The two reconcile, and the Phantom delivers back Christine unharmed to the troupe, demanding that she play the lead in a new performance of Il Muto. Carlotta is back in the picture, and back in the primo spot.
Oh, Emmy Rossum. Sweet little baby. Cast at 16, recording or filming at 17. Gosh, she is just the essence of purity and sweetness, and she's so beautiful.
She's so pretty.
Yes.
That is an opinion of mine that has not changed.
No,
whatsoever.
yes, she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous now. What has she been up to? I don't even.
Shameless.
Oh, that's
I need to
right.
watch Shameless.
Oh God. Oh, I both love and
It's one
hate
of the-
that show. Oh my lord. Poseidon, beautiful creatures.
Oh, I love Poseidon. That had Fergie in it.
Wow. Cold Pursuit. You say I hate being a hater, but maybe I don't
He's
hate
the biggest hater. I don't know what he's talking about.
Mr. Robot and Angeline, The Crowded Room. Yeah, she's been doing some stuff.
Gosh, the fact that she made The Day After Tomorrow and The Phantom, like two of my most favorite movies ever in the same year.
What?
The Day After Tomorrow, I literally have only gone to the Bryant Park Public Library for that reason alone. That is the only reason I went.
What?
Wow. I always think about it. Because New York is always the one that's hit with any disaster. You know what I'm saying? We're always hit. So I'm thinking about where am I going to go? What am I going to do? How am I going to escape? I mean, it's always like lower Manhattan, midtown Manhattan, not really like the upper west side, I'm not seeing anyone hit Tiki Chick with any sort of like monster.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, I know.
I love Tiki Chick.
I love Tiki Chick. Good $5 sandwiches. They pull you in with the sandwiches.
With amazing drinks.
God, the drinks are so good. At the little cuppies. I wish you could keep them. I mean, they probably,
It's so
they probably
cute.
could. I mean, anyway. Now, her singing voice. It is probably one of the most divisive things in this film. I mean, besides Gerard Butler. I have people that say it's their favorite Christine or that she can't sing worth a lick. Now, personally, I think the score calls for a more mature voice. She doesn't have the rich color of a 25-year-old woman or older. And I'm not saying she couldn't get there. I'm just saying that literally the true physical limitations of her age were present in the film. And it makes me sad because I know what the score can sound like, how rich and how lustrous it can be. And music is so important to me. And I mean, after hearing Sierra Boggs as Christine, which is like a gorgeous, gorgeous coloratura soprano, and then hearing Emmy, it's just very thin. But again, that is just the limitations of her voice, limitations of age in general. Your voice is not fully developed till really around 30, but 25 is like where they say like that's the true development. So that's for years and years of preparation. She does a gorgeous job for where she's at. And I think she's in a beautiful Christine. It just makes me a little bit disappointed.
It's a Christine that works on film. I think the thinness of her voice works, especially during the intro of Think of Me, because she's nervous. She's been pushed forward and expected to sing in front of everybody unexpectedly. And so that hesitation, maybe not quite so perfect notes, it works because she's acting it. But I do agree that some other parts of the score might have benefited from a more seasoned, fuller-voiced performer, because when that score is sung well, it sounds good. Which is not to say that Emmy doesn't, but it works on film.
That was going to be my note. Like, she is great in this role as the innocent from a cinematic perspective, that her innocence ultimately redeems the Phantom at the very end, and she pulls him back from murderous intent. And that is the archetype that she is playing, that very young, frightened, and yet courageous figure. And I don't know, in terms of her singing voice with this. I am not a trained vocalist, despite my dulcet tones. So I'm going to defer to you two on that. I will admit that I did like the innocent angle that she brought to this.
Again, like so beautiful, still beautiful voice. I think just for when the score grows past the frightened, think of me, it should expand beyond this thing, and it kind of never does. But you find that with both Meg and with Christine. It's very small, thin, innocent voices. People are out on the fences about the age of Christine. Some think she's 15. From the novel, it was said there's a mistranslation that says that she's 15, but it was actually that she has like the soul and spirit of a 15-year-old, but she's actually 20 in the thing. But in this, I don't know what age she is. Also, okay. We're about to break it the frick down, okay? Because I was watching, and I always recommend to go watch the making of YouTube videos on YouTube. I love them. It's probably one of the reasons I want to do film is just seeing the behind the scenes. Yes?
This is why we need to bring back DVD culture.
Yes.
Yes!
Because if you buy the DVD, which I think I did own this DVD that I got at Costco. Shout out to Costco. But when you buy a DVD, you get all of this behind the scenes footage that you don't have to go and search on YouTube. It's fine that it's available there, but when you bought the DVD, you got all these extra goodies.
Absolutely. It was yours. Any games, any behind the scenes footage.
The commentary.
Bloopers.
Oh, bloopers! Some of my favorite bloopers, and y'all let me know how you feel with this, but it's Rush Hour. Like at the very end I think makes me love the movie even more. If I didn't already love it, I love it more because of the bloopers.
No bloopers compare to Pixar bloopers.
True.
Those are so good. How do they make it seem so natural, even though it's like kind of like...
Because the actors are improvising in the booth, and then they animate to it.
Yes, they record actors in the booth, and so then they can take their actual performances and put it up there.
Right. Oh my God. Okay, Pixar movies are so good. Anyway, okay, so we're getting into some like icky territory. How about let's say that. Again, watching it, Joel Schumacher is speaking about the film. And he said to Andrew, and I'm using his own words, by the way. He says, basically paraphrasing, he didn't want to make a middle-aged film. He didn't want to cast middle-aged actors in it. Emmy Rossum, 16. Gerard Butler, 35. Patrick Wilson, 31. That's. I mean, I don't want to call 30 middle age, but it's older. They're literally like over 10 years her senior. And then he talks about how Raoul is the sort of, again paraphrasing, her romantic awakening, and the Phantom is her teenage sexual awakening. And I'm like, that doesn't sit right with me, Joel. That doesn't sit right at all.
Because that's statutory rape.
Literally, it was so, and I was like, oh, I don't know, like, is it? How do I feel? But it's like, no, Liz, you don't like this, and it was creepy for him to say that, and the fact that, of course, the youngest person is the woman, the girl, and then these two older guys sort of flinging her around, and she has zero agency. If you want to talk about lack of agency, I mean, she only maybe gains it in the end when she makes her choice, but then again, she's forced to make the choice because these two men are pitting her against life and death. And so it makes me upset. And then realizing in this moment that the Phantom is, for lack of a better word, grooming Christine and has groomed her, it gave me the most major ick. And I'd never clocked that before. And I totally am clocking it now. The mystique, it was wearing off. The smoke and mirrors were wearing off. And I was just in awe at this point that this was taking place. Thoughts?
Yeah, their relationship is gross. Once you take away all the sexy music and singing, it's gross. And Emmy's literally half the age of these men in this film.
Less than half the age of Gerard
Less
Butler.
than half the age. It's just traditional Hollywood hootenanny of let's have some very young woman play opposite 30-year-olds. Not even young woman, young girl. She's a teenager.
2 points. Her character is the innocent, and the innocent is supposed to, in an archetypal fashion, maintain her courage and innocence throughout the film or throughout the narrative, and thus has less agency than one might expect from a traditional character. That's not to excuse it, particularly in an instance in which you have two older men, at least one of whom is predating upon her. If Raoul was more appropriate to her age, if they really had been childhood sweethearts, and you have this older male, then it's a different story. That is something where she has the agency to be able to, at arm's length, to appreciate the love of a mentor and to be confused as to when that turns toxic, as it does here.
There are 25-year-old looking pure women. That sounds weird. Hold on. Why does it have to be literally a child? A child.
I'll say Joel Schumacher, once again, he likes to push the envelope. He likes to be outrageous. Bat nipples, anybody? I'm not excusing it. I'm not excusing it.
Says the man.
Bam. Get him, Sarah, get him.
I like the use of Dutch angles and movement in this film. They imply mystery and magic and gloom of the Phantom himself. I know that's a very hard segue. My apologies. When they're used during romantic scenes, however, the movement kind of comes across as distracting to me. The camera moves a lot in this film, and sometimes it's very appropriate, and other times it seems like it's just moving just to move.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't know. Them carrying over the Dutch shots into the music of the night, and it is more than just the music of the night, but going straight from the like crazy, like, ooh, we're like going into this dark, scary world, and Dutch angle, and also horse. Black horse randomly. Did you guys see that? I'm like, first of all, she was walking and now she's on a horse. Like, where did he get the horse? How does he feed it? How does it stay in the catacomb? Anyway, again, like blending like reality and musical shenanigans is, if you're going to go for it, go for it. If you're not going to go for it, don't go for it.
It did not lean fully into the absurdity.
Absolutely.
I mean, it the entire time, it just felt like it was taking the show too seriously.
Absolutely.
She walks through a mirror to go find him in the basement. Just accept that. Lean in. A horse appears. Okay. But there's a way to do it that doesn't make you want to crack up in the middle of watching this very dramatic number, which I did. I just flat out started laughing and could not stop.
Absolutely. And there's a great, and I'm going to recommend this to all the viewers, go watch. You don't already know who Lindsay Ellis is. She's an incredible video essayist. She takes this film on and just has an amazing video essay about it. And she brings up the fact, or she compares Moulin Rouge and its absurdity to the Phantom of the Opera. And so it's like you could go as far as that. And Moulin Rouge came out before the Phantom of the Opera. So you literally have the blueprint.
All throughout my notes of watching this, I just went, what would have happened if Baz Luhrmann had directed this film?
Wow.
Because the opulence and the theatricality of Moulin Rouge is what I want from a film version of Phantom of the Opera. And it just did not happen in this version. So I would really be curious as what Baz Luhrmann's Phantom would look like.
I'm going to say that the critique of Joel Schumacher in his Batman movies is that he's Tim Burton light. Tim Burton always leaned into the cinematic romanticism of his vision. Think about Edward Scissorhands and cutting the ice and having the snow fall down. It's utterly ridiculous that he would get blocks of ice delivered to him in his castle on top of a mountain in Florida. But it works because he leans into that cinematic romanticism. When Selena Kyle transforms into Catwoman after being nibbled almost to death by all these cats, no effort is made to explain that. It's utterly off the wall. So when you watch Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, they are still off the wall, but in a very different way. And so that has been a critique for a long time, that sometimes his version, his vision, his excess is aimed inappropriately.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And I just want to give the actors their flowers here because as I was rewatching to go talk about the Dutch angles, I in my notes I kind of brought up a point about how when the Dutch angle appeared, when we're sort of doing this wide shot of Christine and Phantom walking up like random steps in his cave while he's singing Music of the Night, I'm like, at that point the music was doing sort of this like spiraling motif, and so the Dutch angle didn't ever come back until there was a spiraling motif. Again, it appears at like random times in the film, and then we have these like. So I brought that up, but it really doesn't matter at this point because I don't really agree with the Dutch angles. Anyway, I wanted to give the actors their flowers because as I was rewatching, I noticed that they are truly in it with their whole bodies. And you absolutely, for these roles, for them to work and for them to be believable, and I think why people gravitate towards them so much is that with their full beings, mind, body, and soul, they are in this. And I think that can be really hard to replicate. And of course, it's the job of any actor, but to move from stage where it's truly your full body to screen where, you kind of come in and come back out and come back in and come back out. I think that they do an incredible job. And I just want to take a moment of silence very quickly for the ears of my friends and family who I hurt as I was trying to sing the high E.
Sorry, a little moment of silence. We've got a truck.
Thank you. Very iconic for me when he grabs her hand and the music plays. And it is silly, but I don't know. I still love it. But again, rose-colored glasses coming off. Relationship gross. Gave me the ick. What else do I have to? I think I have like one more thing to say. Oh no, I have a lot to say.
What to say? This is the most notes you've ever taken on
film.
Okay,
you have to understand that the Phantom literally, again, my Roman Empire, I want to make sure that I say everything I absolutely can about it, all of my thoughts, all of my ideas, because I've had them all just like kept up inside me, locked away for years and years, and I finally still don't know what he's done when he gave me the chance to talk. You know what I'm saying? He's opened me up to a new world. So I have tons of notes about this. I just want to hit everything on the head, and if you want to cut it because of some of that's stupid, do it. But if you don't, hey, keep it in.
I will try to keep as much as possible.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. So, one, Christine being barefoot when she faints, like if she's barefoot, I'm like, presumably she was walking through the catacombs barefoot. That is disgusting. Gross. Okay. Also, the end of the Music of the Night. That is the reason I have breath control. Thank you, Andrew the Rubber. Okay, the Phantom, he's a diorama king. LOL. That diorama, he has a little. I love that little detail. I don't know. I like dollhouses. Anyway. Let's talk about this. I feel like people gravitate towards this show because of its seductive beauty in the music and the spectacle. I mean, the music is spectacle enough. And I also want to throw out this little tidbit here, and it's like the one thing I learned from college, my 1.5 years of musical theater training. I have heard that the show is all about sex, and all the moves are sensual, especially the Phantom, between the Phantom and Christine. Terrence McNally once said that all plays are about sex, death, and money, and this one just so happens to be about sex. Think about it. None of this would be happening if the Phantom wasn't so obsessed with, for lack of a better term, getting it in.
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, that there's, out of those three options, there's no better one that fits this show. And although their relationship is creepy, it is the driving force. We wouldn't have any action, if the Phantom was not full-heartedly obsessed with Christine.
Yes. And okay, I got really upset at the physical, I guess having the physical abuse towards her, he pushes her, which is like literally physical violence. What were your thoughts on that? I don't know. I can't remember what he does in the show. I feel like he does push her away and she like falls to the ground. But in this, it felt very much like, it kind of makes us distrust the Phantom at this point where we've been like, intrigued and seduced, and now it's like reality.
I'm just never afraid of Gerard Butler's Phantom.
Well, yeah, he should have been uglier. He is still so sexy. In the stage production, they go crazy because, I mean...
I have notes on that. We'll get to it.
Perfect, we'll get to that.
But in that specific moment, it comes out of nowhere, but I'm also not afraid of him. There are no stakes. I'm like, oh, we pushed her, okay.
Ooh,
I never feel the danger. And that is one of my many, many critiques about his performance is that I want to be scared of him, and I'm never scared of him. I want to fight the feeling of being scared but also being attracted to him, and I feel neither of those things. In this film, he is a very pretty man. I do not have feelings for him in this film.
In the classic form, this is the balance between courtly love and base love. You have the literal Viscount, the courtier, who is the noble love, and that is the quote-unquote love to which young women are supposed to aspire. And then you have the dark love, the foreboding love, the base love of someone who is not courtly, which is the phantom, and to which young women supposedly are attracted to, the bad boy love. And in the classic form of romance, chivalry, women are supposed to gravitate away from the dark love to the light love, and that's what's being portrayed here in that form. So yes, 100% about sex, that the Phantom represents base sex, fornication, and that there is courtly love, the more noble love in which will be consummated upon the wedding night in the future. To answer your question, Liz.
Thank you, Steele. Thank you.
Shall we get back to the synopsis?
Yes, please. Steele is mad at me. He's
I'm not mad at you.
You're not mad? Okay.
No.
Okay. During Carlotta's performance in Il Muto, the Phantom strikes in that he switches out the singer's throat spray after a series of flat and sharp notes arouse the disgust in the famously fastidious French audience. Christine is back in the lead.
You'd think the Phantom would be happy with this turn of events. Alas, he has to murder a stagehand who witnesses him, and then sees Raoul and Christine flee to the roof of the opera hall. They declare their love for each other. The heartbroken Phantom, he declares revenge. And this is usually where Act 1 would finish in the stage show.
Yep. And that's one of the biggest divergences in this stage adaptation. In Weber's original, the chandelier crash happens right before the act break. It's a cracking number, but here the filmmakers decided to move it to the climax. I have my own opinions, which I'll share in time, but I want both of your opinions. Sarah, lead us off.
I am usually of the mind of not changing how something is on stage. If I see something on stage, I want it that way forever for the end of time. And the chandelier crash certainly makes for a dramatic end of Act 1 in the musical, but I actually agree with moving it. I think it would be out of place just randomly to come down while they're on the rooftop. It would make no sense. It absolutely makes sense where it is in the film. I have more of a problem with the way they filmed the chandelier crash, but we can save that for later when it actually happens.
I'm glad you had Sarah lead because I am talking way too much. LOL, just kidding. First, I want to say that the note song is one of my favorites in the show. I mean, I really love all the music, but I think Andrew Lloyd Webber, he does convergence of character melodies very, very well. I think that the majority of the it's because when you group all this like small, like huge plot points that happen in like 3 paragraphs, it's really hard because I want to talk about this, I want to talk about that, but that happens in like this paragraph and this paragraph.
I'm sorry, like behind the curtains, everybody, like we did How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. That synopsis lasted forever, and we were dead by the end. And so I've been trying to craft it shorter, but then the opposite problems happened, and we got to stuff all our opinions in.
Yes, all good, all good. I think the majority of the cast are not the strongest singers, and I can see how that upset many people. It's irking me right now, but it's not the worst. Again, this was my first musical, and I really didn't have the musical knowledge I have today. But comparing this to Chicago or Hairspray, which came out around Chicago, at least 2002, came out before The Phantom of the Opera. Hairspray came out a few years later. The cast from those 2 musicals are stellar, and all of them can sing. I can't see a different cast because of how iconic this film is to me, but it's just something I wanted to add as my opinion.
Can I share something really quick?
Yeah.
This was the major change for Rodgers and Hammerstein back in the 50s. They cast singers who could act rather than actors who could sing.
Oh, how dare they.
I feel that this film casts actors who can sing rather than singers who can act.
Absolutely agree. I also don't want to overlook the indulgence of the song Prima Donna. The champagne in the shoe, the barrage of gifts. Minnie is absolutely in her comedic element here. The collective breath of the whole ensemble before they go, once more. I'm not doing it justice right now, but like, that one just like gave me the chills. Theater Liz is in shambles. And All I Ask of You, we can't skip that, is iconic. I will say at this point in the film, I did look at the toggle bar and was like, oh my God, we have a whole hour left. I forgot how long this damn film is. 2 hours.
I did too.
I thought we were almost done. Let's see. I hadn't seen this show in a really long time. So your comment about the chandelier, for the film, it makes sense closer to the end. I totally agree with Sarah. Everything is burning down and is hitting the fan. You know, if it's too early, where do you go? You have nowhere to go. But adding the drop at intermission for the stage musical makes sense because it wakes the audience up, gets them talking throughout those, 15 minutes. Oh my God, that thing looked like it was really going to fall on us. Or like, man, that's my favorite part. We have somewhere to go at the end. We literally go to the catacombs with them. The magic would be taken away if that changed to the stage adaptation because, we'd be doing the down once more while the chandelier is very quietly, very trying secretly to lift back up and, taking us out taking us out from the mystique of the musical. I mean, that or they could just like keep it there dangling feet from their viewers. That would be, I think that's an option too. LOL, no. Okay. But I actually much love the chandelier coming at the end. I like that choice.
3 months pass. The opera is hosting a masquerade ball for the new year. Christine and Raoul announce their engagement, but their joy is shattered as the Phantom appears once more to the entire cast. He's penned his own opera, Don Juan Triumphant, and demands it be performed. That's not all. Infuriated by Christine's engagement ring, he steals it and flees, with Raoul in hot pursuit.
Pause. We gotta talk about Masquerade.
Please, it's my favorite number in the whole show.
Yes, you go first, because I've seen your comments and I have retorts.
Oh, Masquerade is my favorite piece from the musical. I was really looking forward to it here, and I was underwhelmed. The costumes are good. The singing is decent. I just felt like it wasn't as big on screen as it was from the last row of the theater where I saw it in Toronto. Again, it works as a piece of film, but I was hoping for operatic grandeur, and instead I just got big.
The costumes are good.
I liked the costumes.
Oh, okay, I will give you the ensemble costumes. The black and white is very, very pretty. But compared to the stage version, the Phantom's Red Death costume looks like it's from Spirit Halloween. I mean, they could package up his outfit as Angry Red Theater Ghost and sell it in their little plastic bags. It is so sad. I mean, I want everybody listening right now to Google how it's supposed to look on stage and then watch the scene from the film and tell me that that is not an abomination. It made me so angry when you see how opulent and terrifying and gorgeous that costume is. There is no excuse. There is Andrew Lloyd Webber. Why? Why? That, to me, was one of the biggest insults of this film. And there are a lot of things that insulted me, but that one thing, I mean, my mother used to be a theatrical costumer. Costuming is I will pick up on these things, but that pissed me off. He just looked sad. And I agree with you about Masquerade. It is such a stunning number to open Act 2, gorgeous opulence, but then to have it be coupled with that sad excuse of a costume. Not okay. Not okay in the slightest bit.
Okay, I actually have literally the totally opposite opinion of you. LOL. Okay, but okay, we're fight. Sunday. Anyway, no, that's from Monster Trucks. Anyway, sorry. The costuming is quite beautiful throughout the film. Just these true period pieces. I will say, even though the costuming is pretty in Masquerade, I think it is so lackluster. I don't know why we have to be black and white. Why couldn't it be this big, colorful barrage that happens? I'm pretty sure that happens in the musical, if I can recall correctly. I don't know why it had to be so. It was truly very underwhelming. Now, I did like the fact that they took Christine out of that purple fuchsia hot mess Galinda dress, where I think she even has like a scepter and a crown and those silver boots. I don't like that costume. I'm so sorry to the costumers and to the visionaries of the Phantom of the Opera musical, but I do not like that costume. And so seeing her in this gorgeous pink dusty rose dress gown thing was beautiful. It made me happy. And okay, I will say this. This movie was the first rendition of Phantom I ever saw. So when
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. So jumping to the stage version and then seeing the big red, big skeleton mask that is like this two-piecer that moves with his mouth and then this big Commodore hat, I didn't like it. So I know, I'm sorry. But then seeing him very, it's sort of like a toned down rendition of it, I kind of like that. It was very sexy and, he looked hot. And so I was like, I like that. I don't know, man.
It is almost as if throughout the entire thing, they are so afraid of showing Gerard Butler as anything other than unattractive. And I don't know if that was a him choice. I don't know if that was a costuming choice. I don't know if that was an Andrew Lloyd Webber choice. I don't know whose choice it was. But he's allowed to be multi-layered. He's allowed to be grotesque. He's allowed to be scary. The sexiness will shine through. It's written into the character. It is written into the score. It is written into the bravado of the Phantom. The sexiness will shine through. You don't need to exude it in every aspect. Give me a little grit. Give me a little ugly. Give me a little scarring. Give me something.
I'll say it's probably two-pronged. The first is Joel Schumacher. Look at his films. Lost Boys, all about sexy teenage boys. His two versions of Batman, we get long shots of glistening pectoral muscles and sweat from Val Kilmer, Chris O'Donnell, George Clooney, et al. Pretty much every film, even 8mm, which is supposed to be about the ugly side of sex, we get long shots of Nicolas Cage looking as sexy as Nicolas Cage can be. So he didn't shy away from it, at the very least. I'll also say this is Hollywood. When I teach writing to students, I always say, don't describe your characters as beautiful. The first is that beautiful is a subjective term. It doesn't mean anything. What your beauty could mean something very different from something else. The second is that Hollywood will always cast a beautiful person in a role, given the choice. Even the quote-unquote ugly people in Hollywood are beautiful.
That being said, I'm kind of with Sarah on this point.
I'm with you guys, too. He is way too sexy. I mean, I like that he's sexy, but he's way too sexy. You know what I'm saying? Because in the stage production, he is so grotesque and ugly, but his sexiness, his gravitas, pulls us in. His seduction pulls us in because you're so right, Sarah. It's completely written into the character. Oh my God, you're changing my life. I love this. Okay, very quickly, I was upset by the diegesis in the film, in particularly literally only in the Masquerade point, because the conductor is, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but the conductor is conducting the crowd like, Masquerade! And I'm like, wait, is this a performance or is this diegetic?
I don't think the movie knows.
Okay.
I don't think the movie knows either.
You know what? You're right. I'm reading way too much. It just made me upset. It irked me. Do you like how I know diegesis?
Yeah.
I know. I'm learning something. Okay.
Madame Gary halts the hot-headed aristocrat in his tracks and gives a load of exposition. I mean, explains things to the man. The Phantom was once a deformed young lad in a freak show. Taking pity on the abused boy, Gary rescued him and has allowed him to take up residence below the opera house, away from a world that would hate his malformed face. She asks for pity and understanding of Raoul.
That'll be in short supply when the Phantom appears before Christine the next day at her father's tomb. The Phantom poses as the spirit of Christine's father, but Raoul ain't having it. He halts the Phantom's advances and then plots with the opera managers to capture the Phantom during the production of his own opera.
I always find film romances like this one to be rushed. A 30-something Raoul falls in love with teenage Christine in the span of hours. They're engaged shortly thereafter, and it's the Phantom that has improper ideas of romance. I mean, yes, the Phantom is a 19th century incel, But he's not alone in bad behavior.
Yes.
I actually found the sword fight that happens at the graveyard in this scene the most believable part of the entire film.
Oh.
Absolutely. It's one of my pros, actually. LOL. Yeah, we'll get into that.
Same. When he's not singing, fancy that. Neither of them are singing, and it works.
Gerard Butler, he's an action hero. What is it? Angel has fallen.
Olympus has
Olympus
fallen.
has fallen.
London has fallen.
300.
Literally in 300, kicks him into that hole. Anyway, he fell. Yeah, Steele...
We've lost Steele.
Sorry.
Steele, I've never seen you turn so red.
Either. This is great.
This is amazing.
Oh, man.
I love this.
Wow.
I can think of one time when we were first starting with Queens of the Sapphire Sea, and I couldn't stop saying Queens of the Stone Age. That was the one time.
I do remember that every dang time. We could not get through the first page.
I couldn't do it. Queens of the Stone Age. I kept saying it. I'm sorry. We're back.
It wasn't even for a full episode. It was
No.
for one of the behind-the-scenes interviews
Yeah,
that you did.
it was just for like a 5-minute
We
interview.
could not get through.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
You can still find it on radio.
You can.
Yeah.
You can.
Oh, I want to find that now. Wait,
play it
it's,
for you.
pull
Yeah,
it from me later. Pull it from me later. Okay, back to the romance. Steele, it's a musical. That's all I gotta say. If you come expecting reality, listen, you're gonna get what you're gonna get. You're not gonna throw a fit. People are singing about music that happens in the night. They can fall in love at first sight. That rhymed by accident. Also,
A horse appears in the middle of a basement and is never seen again.
toe arms. They're there. Thank you, Lindsay Ellis, for pointing that out to me.
I did like that.
That was cool.
I actually did like that.
Lean into it, Lean into it. Lean into it. Also, they were sweethearts once, so okay, and yeah, that's fine to me. I don't really see much of a problem with how quickly they fall in love.
The Phantom has his own machinations. He takes the place of the lead tenor in Don Juan Triumphant, but Christine sees through his ploy and unmasks him before the audience. The crowd repulses at his face, and the Phantom retreats, abducting Christine in the process. To cover his tracks, he causes the chandelier to crash, creating a raging inferno that disperses all. For a moment. Incensed by what has happened, the crowd forms a good old-fashioned fairy tale mob that is hell-bent on bringing the deformed genius to death. And is this where we can talk about the chandelier crash?
Yes, absolutely.
Why is it filmed so slowly?
Yeah.
They had only one take.
But it films so slowly.
Got nothing to say after that.
They would probably have minimum 3 cameras on this, probably more like 7 or 8. It seems odd to me that this was the take that they went with. They do sometimes shoot super slow motion so that they can cut out interior footage. If you shoot at normal speed, you just get blur. Whereas if you shoot it fast, you can manipulate it in some way. I don't know if this was shot digitally or on film. It's a little easier digitally. I believe it was shot on film. I don't know.
It just takes such a long time to crash that it takes away from the impact of the moment. And I'm not claiming to be a cinematic genius. My knowledge of cinema is very little, but I don't know how they could shift it and make it better. It took forever.
I actually think that has something to do with the editing. I think the editing, again, as I want to note that this is an opinion of Lindsay Ellis.
Let's blame the editing for a lot of things in this film. Because
where it's it's trying to create a sort of energy, but it's not really working. They try to create a sort of sense of energetic. Absolutely, like energetic. It's same with Masquerade. It's like we get these random cuts. Again, this is not my opinion. This is Lindsay Ellis, but I agree with her opinion. I just want to put that out there. But yes, that in Masquerade, they're using these random flashes, random cuts, and it's just it's becoming lackluster rather than creating this energy again that you would see from Moulin Rouge. And so Moulin Rouge, Baz Luhrmann.
There's a chandelier crash in that, and it's impactful.
Yes. So there's masterful ways.
Done.
It can be done. You're right.
I know I'm right.
Liz, you love Chicago. You
Yep.
love Rob Marshall's direction. That is
Yep.
the ultimate critique of Rob Marshall directing a musical.
What is it?
Such as Chicago, such as Into the Woods, such as Mary Poppins Returns. That he doesn't allow the camera to linger. He doesn't allow the spectacle of dance and costuming and all of this to emerge on screen. I'm not necessarily saying that is right or wrong. Actually, I am saying it's wrong. Rob Marshall cannot direct a musical.
Steele, why do you hate great cinema?
No, okay, Steele is absolutely wrong. Rob Marshall can, in fact, direct a musical.
Chicago is a masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
How dare
masterpiece.
you?
Masterpiece.
I've had this filed away since I listened to one of your episodes and you brought it up. I can't remember which one, but you slandered Chicago in a past episode, and I made a point to be like, how dare you? That is one of the finest movie musicals that has come out.
That's my favorite. That's my absolute favorite.
I don't know if it's my favorite. It's up there, but how dare you, Steele? You're wrong.
You're wrong. You're wrong. And for Chicago,
2 against 1. You're wrong.
2 against 1. You're wrong.
Yeah.
You need those fast cuts. It's like the fast-moving life of the Chicago, murderesses and the beat and the heart of the film. And
he perfectly captured how that musical feels.
Absolutely.
Which is another critique I have about this film, is that it does not capture how Phantom feels to me. It doesn't quite get to the grandeur and the drama. Listening to it and watching it are a very different experience.
Oh my gosh, say it again for the people in the back. Ugh.
Listening to Phantom of the Opera, even the movie soundtrack, listening to a cast recording or the soundtrack, and then watching the film Phantom of the Opera are a very different experience. They clash. It does not compute.
Snaps to that, man.
Raoul has also had enough. Led by Madame Giry, he tracks the Phantom down to the villain's lair. Christine is in the wedding dress the Phantom showed her before and expects that she will accept his marriage proposal. There's more red flags in the Soviet military parade, however, and it's too much for Christine. She is not put off by his face, but his horrifying actions.
Indeed, when Raoul arrives, the Phantom states his plan to kill the man unless Christine marry the Phantom himself. Christine gives the Phantom a pity kiss, and the Phantom melts. He allows Raoul and Christine to leave and turns to a music box. Its mournful tune solving his heavy heart. The mob arrives, but too late. The Phantom has disappeared, leaving only his mask behind. I'm holding it the way Meg holds it at the end of the musical.
So unrealistically.
Yes.
We return to the present. 1919. The public auction continues unabated in the old opera house. The now aged Raoul and Madame Giry bid for the music box that has soothed the Phantom way back when. Raoul wins it, but it's not for him. It's for the grave of Christine, who recently passed away. That's not the only thing that's there. A fresh rose lies on the gravestone. The Phantom is still alive, forever loving Christine from afar.
Dun dun dun.
With a very cheap ribbon tied around a
Yeah.
fake-looking rose. It looked better at the end of the film, but the one that she's carrying out throughout the beginning of the film looks so cheap.
There are details like that throughout where it's like you spent $80 million on this picture.
And you came up with that cheap-ass rose?
Yeah.
With that dollar store ribbon?
No, I mean, where was the budget going to go? They literally had chandeliers coming out of the water. They made this whole set, which is insane to me. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
All on sound stages, like gallons, millions of gallons of water, like just straight up, like I cannot believe that. And then a track for the boat to go on, truly. And then a miniature set so they could film all the big stuff. Really, go watch the behind the scenes. I think it's really awesome. But truly, I think all of the budget went to that and the costumes. And then after that, well, it's like, hey, go to the Dollar Tree, pick up that rose that you.
Well, they certainly got his Red Death costume at the dollar store. All I will say is that knowing theater professionals who work in the scenic department, who work in the costume department, they know how to make things look more expensive than they are. And given that this is a musical film, we have these connections. Why couldn't we do the same thing?
I got no answers for that. Coming to the end of this picture, I think that your mileage is really going to vary on the film depending on how much you like, loathe, or tolerate melodrama. Despite not being as grandiose as the stage production, this is still a big film with big emotions and big set pieces. Subtlety is not its strong suit. Sometimes I do wish it had gone a little softer. And here with the ending, I think the filmmakers were working at their best with a small moment to end such a huge film. Liz just took a big breath.
Oh, okay. Again, bringing up a point that I have gathered from Lindsay Ellis that I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think about it. She puts my thoughts into words, and I freaking love her. Y'all go watch her. The ending in the musical is so powerful and so good and so strong to have these sort of framing device, as she says, with the flash forwards with round this intercutting, which we don't need, and then to have it end that way, you weaken your ending by sort of being like, ooh, he's still alive and she's dead.
100%.
It's a weak ending. Why couldn't we just end on the mask? And close, and then the end.
I think Emmy Rossum really sells Christine throughout the film, as we discussed before, from a cinematic perspective. And I think she does her best here when it's shown that she loves the Phantom as a mentor, not as a lover, pities how society has treated him, admonishes him for what he's done rather than for his visage. I understand your critique about the voice. I think for a 17-year-old, and her acting is superlative.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Sorry. Yeah.
I agree.
Dog. I'm like nodding my head, forgetting it's a podcast. LOL.
Yeah.
I get it. Trivia. Author Gaston Leroux wrote the original novel in 1909, which was originally serialized via newspaper before being collected together. Despite Leroux's success as a writer of crime and detective novels, the original seems to have had mixed reviews and underperformed sales expectations, though there's some controversy about how much this is actually the case. Regardless, it's certainly true that the popularity of the piece exploded when Universal Pictures adapted it into a silent horror film.
The novel was adapted at least 30 times into film, stage, radio, and book form before Andrew Lloyd Webber took his turn in 1986. Webber's greatest deviation from the source material turned it into perfect fodder for the stage. Out were most of the elements of horror, and in was romance, unrequited love, and the grandiosity of opera itself.
After Warner Brothers purchased the rights in the late 80s and ceded creative control to Andrew Lloyd Webber, the composer began looking for a partner to help produce the film in the late 80s, eventually turning to Joel Schumacher after watching The Lost Boys, which impressed Webber with his marriage of music and visuals. The two wrote the original screenplay in the south of France in 1989.
Webber's divorce and Schumacher's sudden ascent as an in-demand filmmaker slowed down production to a halt. Over the course of the film's development in the 90s, John Travolta, Antonio Banderas, Meatloaf, Heath Ledger, and Matthew McConaughey were all considered for the role of Phantom. Banderas actually spent several years in vocal preparation and sang the role of the Phantom in Andrew Lloyd Webber, The Royal Albert Hall Celebration from 1998.
Wow. Matthew McConaughey? I can't believe I'm more surprised about that than Meatloaf. Anyway. True pre-production recommenced in 2002 when Andrew Lloyd Webber purchased the rights to the film back, invested $6 million of his own money, and then independently raised the rest of the reported $80 million budget. Warner Bros. Retained a first-look deal and eventually secured the distribution rights for about $8 million.
Somehow, Gerard Butler impressed Joel Schumacher due to Butler's performance in Dracula 2000. Prior to the making of the film, he had never had a real singing lesson and lamented at the difficulty of the performance. Right there with you, babe. Charlotte Church, Kate Winslet, and Katie Holmes were all considered for the role of Christine. It was eventually offered to Anne Hathaway, but she had to decline because the production schedule of the film overlapped with The Princess Diaries 2 royal engagement in 2004. Despite being only 16 when cast, Emmy Rossum won the role after impressing Schumacher and Webber with a private performance. She almost wasn't able to attend due to a familial obligation, but Schumacher convinced Rossum's mother to allow her to try out.
Neither Gerard Butler nor Emmy Rossum had seen the musical prior to receiving their roles.
It took 4 hours for Gerard Butler to be fitted with full makeup and prosthetics. Patrick Wilson also went through hours of makeup to look much older than he was when he portrayed the older version of Raoul. I thought that was a much better makeup job than the Phantom's one.
Agreed. Ramin Karimloo, who briefly portrays Christine's father in the film, has also portrayed both Raoul and the Phantom in the stage adaptation, as well as the Phantom in the original production of Love Never Dies, the sequel, which makes him, I believe, the only actor to have ever played all the men Christine loves.
That is correct.
He's the best Phantom. That's all I gotta say.
He was so good in Pirates.
Yeah. Oh, he was so good in Pirates. The Phantom almost exclusively sings in the film. Despite his enormous amount of screen time, he only speaks 14 lines of dialogue in the entire film.
All of the principal actors sang their own songs in the film, save for, as we discussed, Minnie Driver. Though a trained singer, Driver had little experience in opera and was dubbed by Margaret Priest. Driver does sing in the film, however, on the end title song, Learn to Be Lonely, written specifically for the film by Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber himself.
The famous chandelier could have a podcast solely devoted to its creation. It weighed 2.2 tons, was 17 feet high by 13 feet wide, and cost $1.3 million, and was provided by Swarovski. 3 versions were made. The hero chandelier itself, which was hung with over 20,000 Swarovski crystal pendants, a stunt double for the riskier scenes, and an electrical version that was strung with lights. The primary version took 4 months to construct and 5 days to assemble at the studio. Also, the sound of the crash in the film was recorded from a performance on the West End. The audience was asked to stay behind after the show to record it, so if you were at a performance of Phantom on the West End in April 2004, you contributed to the sound design of this film. Congratulations.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh. I'm reading this next piece of trivia and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was literally just thinking this, but didn't know if I wanted to say it. But man, Andrew Lloyd Webber has recently announced that attempts are being made to remake the film in the near future. I was just saying, I think it's time. We need a new one. Make it better. Have Baz Luhrmann direct it. Then you really win the Oscar.
The film was shot almost entirely in interior sound stages. What few exterior shots that made it into the film were handled with matte paintings, CGI, and other tricks of filmmaking.
Pros.
You two start, because I don't have many.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I'm going to keep that in there. I felt that all of the aesthetics are truly amazing, not necessarily the cinematography, but I liked the costumes, the sets, the colors, most of the makeup. I could go on and on and on and on about that.
The beauty and the shots of the film, I really think they're... so some people think it's like cramped and clogged, but I just think it's very beautiful and lush and lavish.
I like Emmy Rossum.
She's great. I think all of the singers do well with their roles, and the acting is pretty good. I was worried that Gerard Butler would ham it up, but I was impressed with some of his choices, and to a degree, the vocals. I'm not going to say that he was great, but he had zero training before this film. He came across as okay, considering that handicap.
Okay is not good enough for the titular role in Phantom of the Opera. Come on now.
It's true. The costuming. Alexandra Byrne, I mean, give her flowers. I think she really did a wonderful job.
I'm staying silent.
I know you are. It's okay. I know.
I may cause some pearl clutching, but I do prefer that the chandelier crash happens closer to the climax in the film version than right before the act break in the stage adaptation. It's definitely a big, bombastic moment that hurdles our characters to the conclusion. As we talked about, I wish the cinematography of that could have been handled a little better. And speaking of the cinematography, I feel that when this film is portraying the mysterious angles of it and workings of an opera house, I feel that it works very well. To a degree, sometimes it kind of gets in its own way.
I think the world building and attention to detail is really great when we kind of go, through the opera house and see all the little bits and bobs and all the people and all the workers. I really enjoyed that. All your wildest dreams sort of come true, and I appreciated that as a PH fan. The set design is gorgeous. Tony Pratt, Anthony D.G. Pratt, but I hear people call him Tony Pratt. The Man in the Iron Mask, Excalibur.
Is that? Wait.
What?
He did Excalibur?
Yes.
Wow. Fun fact about Excalibur for all of you medieval fans out there. The production designer, producer, and director all asked that everybody in the production go watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail to be inspired for the look of the film.
Wow.
I love that.
The film does action very well. Sword fighting, to be very, very, very specific. I just want to put this out there. It is a dream of mine to have two men sword fighting over me. Okay. Maybe I'm putting it into the world, into existence. Bring back swords. Bring back swords.
A good sword fight in film is an amazing thing. Think to The Princess
Yes.
Bride. Think to Pirates of the Caribbean. I love a good sword fight in film.
I just recently rewatched all the first three Pirates, the only two that matter.
You do realize your co-host worked on the fourth and the fifth.
Shh.
It's okay. They're not great.
Listen, the first three. Okay. I might dig myself a bigger hole.
That's
Okay,
okay, it's okay.
I still love all the Pirates, and I have seen all of the Pirates. I just have a very special bond with the first three.
It's okay. I know a dog when I see it.
Cons.
Sarah, you lead us off.
Okay. Well, a lot of them we have already brought up, like the ADR lip syncing. Not great. Oh, Gerard, baby, this was not your part, visually or vocally. I do enjoy him normally in a film. He is a very pretty man, as we have said, but The Phantom, I want to be attracted to his voice, not his face. I mean, have either of you seen the National Theater version of Frankenstein?
Yes.
The one that had Benedict Cumberbatch and Johnny Lee Miller alternating in the roles of Victor and the Creature?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Awesome. For those of you who haven't, that's your homework. Go to National Theater at Home. Both versions are available. Highly recommended. I bring it up because those are both very pretty men. And when both of them are in their creature getup, they're still hot, but with that creepy, scary edge. I need my monsters to be grotesque enough so I can feel conflicted about finding them hot. I mean, the Phantom literally describes himself as this loathsome gargoyle who burns in hell. Where? All I see is a pretty man in a mask that when it comes off at the end, it feels odd because all of a sudden there's so much more of his face that is disfigured that we really should have seen before through that tiny-ass mask that he wears for most of the film. They were definitely afraid of making him look ugly until they absolutely had to.
Oh my God.
Those prostheses are a choice.
I completely agree.
What else? The lighting throughout really bothered me. It felt unnecessarily harsh. The colors just were too much, especially, for goodness sakes, the blur around Emmy Rossum's face in the close-ups for Think of Me when she's on the stage. It's giving early photo booth filter, not a big-budget Hollywood film. It was so distracting, and it just bothered me to no end.
It's fairly bright and high contrasty. I'll give you that. Once again, it's going big. It's not really digging subtlety.
No, but I mean, the reds don't feel like lush, opulent reds. They just feel harsh. Give me the reds of Moulin Rouge. I hate to keep bringing it back to Moulin Rouge, but give me that. That is the drama. That is the depth. That is the passion. That is the red of the rose in Phantom. Give it to me. Didn't get it. Didn't like it.
I hear you. I actually did like the blur around Christine in Think of Me. It made her look angelic. So she's like a pretty Barbie doll with the stars in her hair and her little star thing.
She looked lovely.
Yeah.
It was the blur and the lighting that really cheapened it for me.
I hear ya.
I think that the immediacy of theater and performances are completely lost in this transition to the screen. You could watch this musical from the back row of the biggest theater in New York, and it would seem big and bold and in your face. And it's big, but I don't get the grandiosity of it. And also I feel that there's a lot of exposition in this film that could have been handled with more subtlety. The stage musical isn't without moments of expository dialogue or dialogue in general, but it felt more like an opera, like a real big opera. And this feels like a musical. That's not exactly a criticism. It just felt off for me. This didn't feel like the Phantom of the Opera.
No, the exposition moments in the film take forever. And on stage, you never feel like it's taking forever. It just moves along.
I actually kind of like the exposition where they do these flashbacks. I liked it because we get more detail about what we're seeing, and it's, you always kind of imagine it in your head. And then, I think there's a sort of, I don't know. I understand making the audience do work, but I also understand just giving it to them, feeding them. I think that there's a lot of that.
I would argue that there's a way to do those flashbacks and not have it feel like it's taking forever.
Heard. I hear you.
I think, once again, that comes back to editing. It feels very herky-jerky at points. And with the camera movements, with the inability to let the show breathe, it can be very disorienting.
The not matching of intensity from the recording to the recordings can be very, very intense, and then their faces are very much like beauty, pretty, model serving, and I'm just like, wait, you're literally like, well, at least from Christine, like there's some moments where she gets more intense, but it's just not matching. Her face is not matching. The Phantom, he goes all in. Those screaming, the screaming, the yelling, the growling, almost that all looks about right. I get just the huge story flaws. How icky their relationship is. That is just a big thing for me. And I feel like it could have been different. The story works so well on stage, and on film it just didn't translate. And I think there's a way that it can, but it wasn't right for me.
Do you think it's because Emmy Rossum is so young?
I think that is what it is. Because when I watch it on stage, it's like, yes, oh my gosh, because on stage the woman looks to be in her 20s, early to mid 20s, maybe even later sometimes, but she is the the vision of innocence and purity. And if we pulled up a close-up on her face, I wouldn't be like, oh man, she's old, I don't believe this. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't think that. And I hate that that's been like beat into the minds of especially women in film and in the entertainment industry and in the performance art industry. And so I think that's something we need, because I'm literally watching this being like, oh man, I didn't do that when I was 16. And it's like, girl, calm down. I'm 23. I'm thinking that like I'm growing old and I'm, but it's like I shouldn't be afraid of getting older, So I'm gonna just put it there, and I'm gonna just be like, we can do better. We can really do better.
I think the age discrepancy is a big part of it. We've had stories with young female protagonists who fall in love and wind up getting married. The one that immediately comes to mind is The Little Mermaid, where Ariel is 16 and Prince Eric is either 18 or 19. But that is also, they're more age appropriate for each other. It is a fairy tale romance, and things happen in the course of 90 minutes, as opposed to 2.5 hours, as in this film. I think also, speaking of that, this film feels very long. There's no intermission in it. There's no way to reflect and take a moment and come back in.
What is so wrong with putting in a title card that says intermission?
It's not Gone with the Wind. We can't do that anymore.
They've done it before in other things, and it's such a grandiose, overly dramatic film such as Phantom, it would not feel out of place. It would fit in with the old-timey style. I mean, come on, just slap that horrible film grain on a little title card, go intermission, play like a little tinny version of the Phantom Orchestra, then we're back in after 15 seconds.
I'll be honest, I prefer a show and a film that are about 90 minutes long. An example would be The Scottsboro Boys, which I think is 95 minutes on the dot, no intermission.
Oh, that's a great show.
It's such a great show. I understand the economic necessities of being on Broadway, selling as much merch and booze as you can in that. And I think theaters and theater owners wouldn't mind the intermission. Certainly, as I'm getting into my 40s, I wouldn't mind having a chance to go to the bathroom, maybe getting another soda. Hollywood studios are loath to create a 3-hour picture because they're worried about losing that extra screening per day. And it's such a budget, $80 million, about $160 million in today's costs. I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that for epics like this, as they used to do in The Sound of Music, Gone with the Wind, Lawrence of Arabia, there were intermissions because these were so big and epic. How can you sit there for 3.5 hours? I think that that's to the film's detriment. It's an impossible task. It has to adapt the stage musical as best as possible. If you cut too much to get to a 2-hour running time, people are furious. And yet it feels so long.
I don't know. I think it's a rite of passage to have to hold your pee in the movie theater, potentially contracting a UTI while you have Coca-Cola pushing on your bladder and making you regret every decision you ever made.
Would you like to share a specific instance?
No, it happened literally so often, but I'm like, don't do it. I'm not going to share my medical history, but like, don't worry guys, I am totally fine. I am okay. But I always verge the point of like, oh my God, is this going to become something that Liz, just go pee. Go piss, girl. Let's move on. Oh, Minnie Driver. Last con. She's a pro and a con, okay? Pro because I love her acting job. She really does such a beautiful job. She's so hilarious. She's so camp. But I don't like that we had to dub. Let's just get people who can do it. Okay, final con. The choice to speak instead of sing some of the introductions to the songs, like when they're singing, Little Lottie thought of everything and nothing, but they're not singing it. At first, they're saying, Little Lottie thought of everything and nothing. And they're rhyming. And I'm like, y'all, you're rhyming. Looking like a crazy Dr. Seuss character right now. And then same with like Masquerade when they're talking about the ring and the secret engagement. And they're supposed to be singing. And I don't understand taking this approach of realism when we're kind of not really taking this approach of realism, but we are. And so that made me really upset. And so that creative choice in general, which I think dampened the whole thing for me, was a con. Thank you. Let's move on. That's it. That's all I gotta say.
Personal opinion.
So, I think we kind of have an idea of where this is going to go, but what's your personal opinion of this film, Sarah? Divorce yourself from the critics and the crowd for a moment, and just give us your unvarnished truth.
Well, There's a wonderful screenshot that I took during Point of No Return where Patrick Wilson is watching the Phantom and Christine make sexy eyes at each other, and he looks so disgusted and baffled. I have to show it to you guys.
The tears welling up in his eyes.
That was honestly my face for a lot of the time rewatching it. That and flat out laughing because some moments are so cringe. I mean, every time Meg says the title of the show, he's here, the Phantom of the Opera. It's like, girl, seriously? It takes itself far too seriously. I was talking to my friend and fellow voice actor Ivy Dupler, who loves Phantom. She is a major fan of the show, not the movie. And being a major Phantom fan, I knew I had to talk to her before coming on here. And she brought up the question of who is this movie for? And I second her question because I truly don't know. I don't think it's for, well, okay, it's for Liz.
No, I'm raising my hand because I was going to say it's for wine moms who are lacking. No, absolutely it is, because look at how sexy it is. It's Gerard effing Butler, and I mean, you know what I'm saying? And they want to be, listen, they probably have lackluster love lives, and so, they want something that spark back. And what's that spark? Listen, it's the Phantom of the Opera, the music, the sexiness, the seduction.
On stage, maybe, not on film. I don't think this film is for the Phantom fans. I really don't. It's too flat and not theatrical to be an appropriate homage to the people who have kept it relevant for so long. Is it for people who don't know the show, and is this their introduction to it? I mean, if I hadn't seen it on stage prior to seeing the movie, I don't think it would compel me to buy a ticket. Is it for the Gerard Butler fans? I would hope not, because this is not him at his finest. The whole thing left me so befuddled, slightly amused, mostly befuddled. And I kind of want my 2.5 hours back.
2.5 hours and $3 and change that YouTube charged me for renting the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I certainly didn't hate this film. I remember that it got absolutely destroyed by critics when it came out. And as I'm middling on the stage adaptation itself, I had no real reason to see it when it first came out. But when I turned it on, I found that despite some of the hokiness and inelegant moments, there was a lot to like about this production. It's just off for me, and I think it's because it's trying to be two things at once, a film and an adaptation, which itself was an adaptation. It tries to play it both ways, and it feels like it doesn't achieve either.
This film is truly a sight to behold. I feel it fell short for little Liz, and it's quite sad for me right now. I'm quite sad because I held it in such high regard. For as beautiful as the film was, it just didn't meet the mark, and the music couldn't save it. Much love to the team and the performers. I feel like right now, though, I need to go cleanse my palate with the 25th anniversary version. Thank
you. The verdict.
The critics in the crowd are divided. 84% of audiences find the film adaptation of The Phantom of the Opera to be just as powerful as its musical predecessor. Pros are not enamored, however. Only 32% of them are moved by the music of the night. What do you think, Sarah? You are our guest. Who got it right with this film, the critics or the crowd?
The critics. For sure. I do not care for this film. Considering that we got two incredible movie musicals very soon that came out right before this, Moulin Rouge and Chicago, there is no excuse for this to fall so flat. I think Schumacher was the wrong director. I do not care for many of the shots. It just was missing the opulence and the magic that the stage version has. And Mr. Butler, you were so miscast. Without a strong Phantom, you do not have much of a story. Any good performances in this film are brought down because he's just not that strong of an anchor. Purely because of the singing. And as we discussed, he sings throughout pretty much all of the film. This one is just not for me, and that's okay.
Little Liz would have said 10 solid stars. But big Liz, adult Liz, grown-up Liz, more aware Liz, gives this movie 3. I'm saving some of that love. Yeah, no. So I guess maybe I can't tell if that's the critics or the crowd. I don't know percentages in star points, but What would you say that is?
That's
Steele?
about 60%.
Oh, so I'm like right in the middle of the two of them, no? Or am I even less than the critics?
You're above the critics, below the crowd.
Yeah, so I'm right smack dab in the middle.
So neither then.
I guess neither.
I was originally more on the crowd side. As we discussed and as I thought through this, I think I'm more aligned with you, Liz. I think this is neither. I don't think it's as terrible as the critics hold it, but 84%, I don't see it that high.
That is staggering to me.
Yeah. I mean, that score comes from the PH freaks. You know what I'm saying?
It shows that people who are a fan of this show, they will watch anything that has the Phantom of the Opera, the music, everything in it. Sarah?
Die Hard stands.
Mm-hmm.
Die Hard.
Well, that does it for our coverage of 2004's Phantom of the Opera. Have you seen it? Do you love it? Or do you side with the critics on this one? Hit us up on our social media, let us know your thoughts, and share what kinds of movies that you'd like for us to cover. Just remember that there needs to be at least a 25% point difference on Rotten Tomatoes. Where can people find you, Sarah?
You can find me at my website, sarahsmithton.com, on Instagram and Threads at SmittyVK, that's SMITTY, V as in Victor, K as in King, and Blue Sky at Sarah Smithton.
Parting thoughts, Liz?
It's over now, the music of the Thank you.
You can't see this, but I'm clapping much like the monkey with its cymbals.
Yes. Oh, I did want that monkey. Oh, I know.
It is a pretty cool music box.
It is a cool music box. Okay.
No judgment.
No judgment. The Critics in the Crowd is hosted by Liz Ramirez and Steele Philippek. Editing and production handled by Steele. Social media by Wendy Dobkin. Logo by Aria Feliciano. Music by Joel Studler, provided by a Humble Bundle. All audio effects are sourced through freesound.org and used under the Creative Commons license. If you feel that we used a piece of audio to which you own the rights, please email helmstarmedia@gmail.com.
This episode was recorded at the Communipub branch of the Jersey City Public Library. Special thanks to Kyle Ramsey and all of the amazing librarians at this location throughout the United States and throughout the world.